pretty. Pretty.
Halloween used to be about dressing as witches and ghosts and vampires, because people used to believe in those sorts of things, and they found them genuinely distressing. Whenever they felt their souls drained by something, they would often blame it on the horrors of the supernatural. The term hag-rid actually means hag-ridden, as in you've been visited by witches in your sleep. People used to have vivid dreams of being probed and tormented by witches. Aliens didn't get into that game until the 20th century. That was awfully convenient of them as far as the witches were concerned. Awesome! We can finally hang up our probes, girls. Have you seen what these guys can do with it? If only they'd turned up at some point in the thousands of years of recorded history before they were invented by humans. So this is why a lot of people dress as various kinds of aliens for Halloween. Because aliens are scary. Whereas some people treat the idea of scary fancy dress as, I'm going to look as feminine as humanly possible, because fuck the rules, fuck the guidelines, femininity is a more fancy thing than anything. And you gotta give it to them, that's pretty fucking bone-chilling. Why so sad?
Princess in distress.
No, that's exactly what you are in that dress. Could be going worse so far, right?
I'm pretty fucking powerful and ready for success.
Yes, I know. If we were in the Paleolithic wild, you would be among the least powerful humans. But we don't live in the Paleolithic wild, we live in Orwell's nightmare. If I lay so much as a hair on your head, then it will be a race between the police and the spontaneously formed mob to see who can execute me first. Whereas you can punch me as hard as you like, gouge my eyes out, kick my balls clean off, and all you have to do is shout, help, and it will be a race between the police and the spontaneously formed mob to see who can execute me first. Yes, my darlings, I can confirm that we do not live in the Dark Ages, despite your attire. The only people who wield more social and legal power than girls are women. There's a Violence Against Women Act, VAWA. There's no act called Violence Against Girls is Not Acceptable.
So what is more offensive? A little girl saying fuck?
No, that's probably not more offensive than anything. It's just annoying. On the spectrum of anger responses, annoying is probably the opposite of offensive. Tell you what, I'll show you something offensive. You talk for a bit. I'm just gonna find something.
Or the fucking unequal and sexist way society treats girls and women.
Now, you may be thinking, yay, Aladdin, or something, but you're making the same mistake as people who go, yay, a princess. In my last clip, when I was dressed as a regular Western man, you'll notice I had far less innate social power than a little girl dressed as a princess. But come with me, little one, to a place where men dress like this. And we'll see what kind of relationship, what kind of power play goes down between a man dressed like this and a little white girl dressed like a princess. And then in my next clip, do notice how the power play has flipped over when you're still dressed as a princess and I go back to being a regular Western man living in Orwell's nightmare. As if by magic.
It's our future! So listen up, grown-ups. Here's some words more fucked up than the word fuck.
Child abuse. I hope you found this an instructive display on how costumes can be scary.
Pay inequality. Women are paid 23% less than men.
Probably because they destroy perfectly good currency for no reason. For less than no reason, to make a point that is a lie.
For the exact same fucking word.
Okay, aside, move. All you just move. Get out of the way. All of you. You there. You are a child abuser. You are lying to these girls and making them lie to other girls, making them think the odds are forever stacked against them when they're not. The fact that you don't realise you're doing it is a detail I find no more mitigating than the idea that you don't realise you shouldn't be blowing smoke in their faces from the crack pipe you're hitting while you give birth to them. Lying to adults is one thing. Lying to children is another. Getting children to lie to other children is soundly in the category of evil. It is my firm but polite contention that you should stop this, please.
And women who graduate university with straight A's get paid as much as men who only got C's, so bad grades equal more bank?
Yes, because they earned as much as men who got C's, because men get a lot of C's in the highly practical technical subjects they enjoy, and women get a lot of A's in the useless gender studies bullshit fest that they enjoy. What you're talking about is the statistical confirmation that women do less work than men. There are 2 ways we could equalise this pay gap. 1, women could work harder. Or 2, men could take the extra money they earn for working harder and then give that money to women because vagina. What do you think, girls? Fancy a bit of hard work? Or are you going to let boys keep the money they earn from working harder than you?
Just because you're a boy? Hello and hell no. Pay up, motherfucker. I shouldn't need a penis to get paid.
Excuse me for a moment. Yes, aside, please. Yep, move, aside. Fuck off, please. You there. For future reference, whenever I'm yelling at these girls, I'm only yelling at you. You are not just lying to these girls. You are teaching them to be pathologically entitled to impossible things. Unless you deprogram them as soon as possible, they are going to be unhappy for the rest of their lives. And they will probably make some other people unhappy too. Probably their own children. And the respective fathers of those children. You've taken your ideology so far forward into your children's education that it has all the properties of a hereditary condition. It's like you're an open and untreated genital wart, just scattering fungal spores onto every passing generation and multiplying as it travels. Do you see what I'm saying? You're like a mutated haemophilia gene. You should have been stopped before all of this damage. I'm gonna skip back to 051 now. Please say you're not about to make these girls talk the darkest shit they could possibly talk.
Rape and violence. Fucked up fact. 1 out of every 5 women will be sexually assaulted or raped by a man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which one of us will it be?
It's highly improbable that any of you will be raped. However, since you've been brainwashed by evil cunts, it's very likely indeed that at some point in your life you will falsely accuse a man of rape, and there is a possibility that he will be sent to prison, and there is no possibility that you will ever be held accountable for that particular instance of perjury. It's illegal, very, very illegal, for a man to ruin a woman's vagina. It is perfectly legal for a woman to ruin a man's life. I hope and pray that the amount of men whose lives you ruin stays in single figures. That would at least give you a chance of beating the spread.
So how many more women have to get knocked down before society stands up and stops it?
About -3 billion.
Here's a hot tip. Stop telling girls how to dress and start teaching boys not to fucking rape.
From the mouths of babes, eh? All this time we've been making burqas and miniskirts illegal when we should have been making rape illegal. There you have it, folks. Everyone can send their daughters into the ghetto dressed as hookers and everything will be fine, as long as everyone's telling their sons not to rape people. But Mommy, I don't know what rape is. Oh, it's when you have sex with a woman against their will. But Mommy, I don't even know what sex is, and now I already know what rape is. Well, don't do it or I'll disown you.
We're glad a women's right to vote is here. But equality's next step is walking to the car without fear.
We built houses so you don't have to fear. We built cars so you don't have to walk. You never had to pay for any of this or lift a finger to help. But let me get this straight. You still won't consider yourself equal until we've devised some way of getting you from the house to the car without you releasing any adrenaline or cortisol or anything. See, it's very important that girls never experience the emotion of fear, that way they will be totally prepared for life as an adult. So perhaps some kind of tube system is in order. Like, men and boys should use the front door, while women and girls should go through a network of reinforced marble causeways of insulated corridor full of fine art and aquariums and nitrous oxide pumped in constantly, so everyone's suspended moments from death at all times, but at least they're not experiencing fear. Meanwhile, the men are scrambling around outside these corridors, clawing madly at the outer walls in a desperate and ever-thwarted attempt to fulfill the destiny that's been drilled into their heads since they were 5 years old and rape somebody. In the subconscious hope that their psycho mothers will disown them for it. Because that would be equality!
Be pretty.
I am, thank you very much.
So here's the tricky thing. Pretty, it's a compliment.
Not always. For instance, calling a man a pretty boy is very often an insult. One way to flatten this out, perhaps, is to stop telling women they're pretty, and I'm sure you'd all handle that just wonderfully. But another possibility is maybe you should spend more time telling men they're pretty. Maybe you should compliment men more often, and that will soften their brains up a bit. Maybe if instead of saying boys are stupid, throw rocks at them, you could say nice things to them every now and again. And maybe that will make them more confident, maybe fill the hole in their self-esteem so they don't have to fill it with insatiable workaholism and end up taking all the most high-paying jobs. But see, that would mean being nice to boys. As nice as boys are expected to be to you. And that's just not gonna happen now, is it, princess?
But here's how this focus works to girls' detriment. Society teaching girls that our bodies, boobs and butts, are more important than our brains?
Yes, and in the meantime it's telling men that their arms, legs and wallets are more important than their brains. And we're also sending a rather clear message that their foreskins don't matter at all. I would say we should treat everyone's brains as the most important part of their body. Can you think of why you might have a problem with that?
Leads us to thinking.
See, this is why you don't get idiots to direct other idiots.
Our worth comes from our waistline.
That was probably the only edit they could get.
My aspirations in life should not be worrying about the shape of my ass.
But boys should totally be worried about the shape of their rape.
So fuck focusing on how I look and give me a book.
Preferably a book covered in blank pink paper, because that would be prettier.
The continued sexism, girls and women's stale face.
You're a child abuser. Get off my screen forever. Seriously.
Instead of cleaning these girls' mouths out with soap, maybe society should clean up its act.
Girls are part of society, you evil fucking grotbag trunch bull nurse racket blob monster! You can't just lie to them and dress them up all pretty and have them repeat your own lonely and forlorn rape fantasies to an audience of thousands and then act like society isn't your fucking fault! You are not goddesses floating above society, being affected by it without in any way affecting it. Fuck you so hard! I'm not standing for this. Give me the child. Through dangers untold and hardships unnumbered, I have fought my way here to the castle beyond the Goblin City to take back the child that you have stolen. For my will is as strong as yours, and my kingdom is as great.